Hello everyone, it's Marie and welcome to another video. So today I'm talking to you all about buying a car here in New Zealand. So just things you look out for, things to be aware of, how to find a car, how to get a good deal, and just things to be aware of like the WOF certificate, registration and that kind of stuff. So let's just get into it. First of all though, if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to my channel to see more videos about travelling around New Zealand on a working holiday. You know, I just travelled Europe for 1 year working online as an English teacher, so I talk about digital nomad stuff as well. But if you're interested in any of this kind of stuff, definitely subscribe, follow the journey, and let's just get into it. Okay, so I have actually owned 2 cars here in New Zealand. The first car I owned was like a minivan, and it was a Toyota Estima, which are like the go-to traveller vans that people freedom camp in here in New Zealand. And the second car that I've owned is a Toyota, I think it's called Lucinda. Oh my god, I'll write it down. So the first car I bought with my ex-partner and our friend, and now Andy bought me out on the van, so I got money back for my share of the van, so it's no longer mine. I ended up grabbing myself my own car so that I can go off and do my own thing, so now I have my little black Toyota and I love it so much. It's like my favourite car in the world, just because it's my first proper car that I've had all to myself. So yeah, I've got a bit of experience now buying 2 cars here in New Zealand, so I'm sure I can give you some sort of tips and advice. So let's just get into it. So first of all, how to find a car. So the first time we went to a car dealership place, you know, I just Google searched camper vans I was in Auckland at the time, so camper vans in Auckland, and I came up with this place called Auckland Camper Vans. You know, I read the Google reviews, they had good reviews, people seemed to like them, so I went there and I checked out the car was good, it looked like it was in good condition, it had 6 months of WOF available on it and everything, it had everything I was looking for. I ended up going with that dealership and it was all good, the car is still running great and I have no complaints. But obviously it's always a hit and miss with cars. You can never be certain the car you get is going to be good, especially when you're buying an old car. I mean, the Toyota Estima we bought is like a 1990s car, and you know, it's done like over 260,000 kilometers. So you know, you just got to understand it is hit and miss when it comes to cars, but as a whole a dealership is a good option to go for, especially if you want like a camper van. But the second car that I got, I didn't get from a car dealership. I actually found it on the Facebook Marketplace, so that's another great way that you can buy any second-hand stuff, and I actually talked about that in my How Expensive is New Zealand video, which I put up here. I talked about how you can buy tons of second-hand used stuff on the marketplace like you can anywhere in the world. And I ended up finding my new car on the marketplace just from a private seller. Obviously it's always risky when you buy from a private seller, but Andy and I owned 3 cars back in the UK and 2 of them were fine. The third one always had tons of issues, and we got that from a dealership too. So you can never be certain that whether you get it from a private buyer or a dealership it's going to be wrong or right. You just have to know what you're looking out for, which I'll get into in the next point. But yeah, so you can try a dealership place, you can try the Facebook Marketplace, you can try Facebook groups like Auckland Cars for Sale or Auckland Things for Sale. There's actually a Facebook group called New Zealand Camper Vans for Backpackers, so you could try something like that. You can buy it off another backpacker. You know, if you're looking for a van or a car to sleep in, your best bet is buying it from a previous backpacker, because you know it's been used for sleeping in and backpacking in, and it's done those backpackers well, so you'll feel a bit more better getting it. You can go on Trade Me, which is like an online sale website, and also Auto Trader as well, which is good for buying used cars. But personally I always go to either the Facebook Marketplace or to a dealership. I think now that I've bought this one off the Facebook Marketplace, the one that I have right now, and I'm happy with it, I'll probably always just use the marketplace because it ends up being so much cheaper. If you go to a dealership, you're going to pay extra money. If you buy it from a private seller, you're going to be paying less, and you can also barter them down better. So yeah, that's what I did. My car was actually originally listed for $2,000 and I ended up bartering them right down to $1,200. So yeah, a couple of things to be aware of is here in New Zealand you have to have a car WOFed, which means Warrant of Fitness. In the UK we call it MOT, and here you can get 6 months or 1 year of WOF. I'm pretty sure that with old cars you can only get 6 months, with the newer cars you can get 12 months. That was a bit of a culture shock for me, because in the UK I'm pretty sure you always just get 12 months regardless of the age of the car, whereas here in New Zealand you would get only 6 months if it's an older car. Can you hear that music? There's some sort of piano music playing in the background. I do apologise for that. So yeah, always make sure the car has a WOF. If you can, try and get 6 months of WOF on the car, but if you're buying from a private seller A lot of the time it's not going to have 6 months, it might only have 3 or 4 months, but make sure it's got some sort of warrant of fitness, because you know, you want to be sure that it's passed its WOF recently. If it passed within the last month or two, you know, you can guarantee that it's not got anything major wrong with it because it's passed its warrant of fitness. So make sure it has WOF. The car I have right now has WOF for the next 5 months, so that's really good. When we bought the Toyota Estima, it had 4 months of WOF, so just try and make sure it has at least like 3 or 4 months on it. I don't know if you can hear that, but there are some children and they are playing a piano really badly and it's really annoying me. Okay, anyway, I'm hoping you can't hear the piano music and I'm just going to continue. So yeah, WOF. They're not too expensive to do. I think it's like $35 to do your WOF, and they're not as strict here as they are in the UK, so the chances of passing, as long as it doesn't have anything major wrong with the engine or the wheels or the car doors or anything that's serious that could cause a crash or that could be a problem in a crash, generally your WOF will pass. So as long as, you know, the brakes work and the calipers are okay and all that kind of stuff, your car should pass its WOF. So with a car's registration here in New Zealand, you register your car for 6 months or 1 year. So you can choose. A lot of people just get 6 months registration, but you could also get a year. My car already has a year's registration. So the way it is the car can either already be registered or you'll have to register yourself. So when I bought the Toyota Estima, I had to register the car myself. So I had to go to the post office, grab a buyer's form and a registration form, and I had to register the car myself. I think it cost me about $60 to register the car for 6 months. And then I got it registered into my name. So it cost an additional like $9 to get it put in your name. If the car is already registered to someone else's name, you don't have to re-register it, you just have to transfer it to your name. So it costs like $9 or something to get it put into your name. And you put the registration sticker in the front of your car, kind of like a tax disc in the UK. If the car is already registered, that's a big bonus, but if it's not, you just have to pay to get it registered. It's not a big deal. When you go in to register your car or get it put in your name, you need to usually present them your driver's license and maybe another form of ID, and that's pretty much it. I think for me it just had to be my driver's license, and then you obviously have to know your car like information and stuff, like the license plate number and stuff. But yeah, it's really easy, really straightforward, super easy to do. Some things to look out for when you're buying a car, just to be aware of, are things like make sure the brake pads work okay. You want to try and read service history if you can, and you want to look at things like the timing belt. Obviously, if you can, try and get a car that's chain driven. So the Toyota Estima was chain driven, and that basically means that you don't have to change the belt because there's no belt, it's chain driven, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you get a chain driven car, that's really good. But if not, you know, and it's got a timing belt, you want to just ask when the belt was previously changed, because you obviously need to change your timing belt in a car every so many thousand miles. It will normally go a good few years without changing it, but the problem with timing belts is if they go, it could ruin like your head gasket, or like, you know, it can really, really mess up your car if your timing belt goes. I've had a timing belt go on my car in the past, and trust me, it's not pretty. It can cost you like up to £1,000. It's just not good if your timing belt goes on you. So you always want to be sure that it was changed like within the last so many thousand miles, and if it wasn't and you've got no history of it, you want to go and change it yourself. Like, I just bought my new Toyota. The lady I bought it of has had it for 4 years, and she said she's never changed the belt and she has no idea when it was last changed, which tells me the belt's probably a bit old. So I haven't changed it yet, but before I head off on my travel around New Zealand, North and South Island, I am going to get the timing belt changed. Like, it's like on my list of things to do with this new car, because if a timing belt goes, you're really screwed. Because if you have doubts, trust me, it's not something that you want to have to deal with, a timing belt going on you. So yeah, definitely just get that changed. It's not going to cost you too much money, but it is well worth it. If you can, try and get like a friend to go with you that knows about cars. I'm incredibly lucky that here in New Zealand I have a great friend here that I made while kiwi fruit picking, and he went with me to help get my car. His housemates are actually mechanics, and he knows kind of what to look out for as well, so he was able to kind of help me figure out whether it was a good deal or not, and he was able to also help me bat it down, because my car actually had an O2 sensor problem, and if you'd have told me what an O2 sensor was, I would have had no idea. I know a bit about cars because my dad's an engineer, an electrical engineer, and my dad does mechanics, so I do know a good amount about cars, but still I'm a bit lost sometimes when I lift up a bonnet. So to have a friend there that knew what an O2 sensor was and how much it would cost to be replaced was really helpful, because he was able to kind of help me barter the price down because of how much it would cost me to change the sensor and stuff. And he was also there to help reassure me that just because the O2 sensor's broken, it doesn't mean that you can't can't drive the car. It's actually okay to drive without it. You just want to get it fixed because it makes it less economical on petrol and stuff. So I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have a friend with me to help guide me when buying my car. So if you can find a good friend that knows about cars, take them with you. Just be confident and show the people at the dealership place or at the place you're buying it from that you know what you're talking about. Like I said, I know quite a bit about cars because of my dad, so I went in there very confidently, and even if I wasn't too sure, I kind of pretended to them I knew what I was talking about so that they wouldn't try and kind of con me or, you know, get me to buy a bad car, basically. Just be a bit more confident and act confident when you're buying your car so people can't con you. The last thing to think about obviously is just your insurance. So don't worry too much about insurance here because it's super cheap in New Zealand to get car insurance. In the UK I was paying about £450 a year for car insurance on a 1.4 litre engine car, and that was with like 7 years no claims and being over the age of 25. Here in New Zealand, you know, it costs me like less than £70 a year for third-party insurance, so it is so cheap here. You want to ring up, like, I think it's just the AA. There's not many car insurance companies here, not like in the UK where there's like tons. Here there's like 1 or 2, and you just ring them up and you just get car insurance, and it's like super easy done. You can do it over the phone, you can do it online, really easy to do. And obviously also try and make sure you can get breakdown cover as well. I haven't done that yet, but the thing with New Zealand is often the roads can be a bit windy, and sometimes when you're driving around you can, I mean most of the time you're near towns and cities, but you can find some places that are a bit more in the middle of nowhere, and you can be going quite a long way without finding like a petrol station or a town or a village, especially in the South Island. So just be aware of that, and obviously make sure you have a good spare tyre, and make sure you have some petrol, spare bottle of petrol on you, and make sure you're topped up on, you know, engine oil and stuff like that before you go on a long trip. And yeah, try and get AA roadside assistance. It's not very expensive, it's like super cheap, but it's so worth it if something goes wrong and you're like stranded at the side of the road. So yeah, that's also a good thing to consider. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I can give you in terms of buying a car here in New Zealand. I hope that was enough information for you. I hope I didn't skim over any of it and it made sense. If you have any further questions, leave a comment below and just ask, and I'll try and get back to you and give you some sort of help or advice. Leave a comment below if you have bought a car in New Zealand or abroad, and do you have any tips for anyone in terms of finding a good car and things to look out for before buying a car that you should be aware of. So yeah, I'm just going to end this here. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel to see more videos about working online, travelling, New Zealand, working holiday, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.